You, my boy, are really intelligent. You'll do well in life. Well, the first time I heard that, it was my teacher appreciating me for reciting an entire poem without actually having to look at a notebook. It felt really good. There was another time where I scored well on a test. She said it again. And suddenly I felt like I had this superpower, something that, made me special versus everyone else that could help me achieve success at every stage in life. Reality wasn't as simple. There were a lot of other things that are required to succeed at different stages. In many of those, I lagged heavily, but hey, at least I'm intelligent. Until some people came around and told me that they've built a program that is more intelligent than me. But why do I feel threatened then? Why do I feel scared? What is intelligence? Is it just wearing, smart glasses like this? To me, it cuts into the very definition of the word intelligence. Do we understand it? And if we don't understand it, then how do we apply it? How do we build it? And why are we so scared? There are words that we use daily that's in our language that we feel pretty confident about. We know what it means. We know that we use it right. But at times when you're asked to define it, it seems that you don't really understand that word. So let's do this. Define the word intelligence. Take a piece of paper. You can type it in your notes. You can also type it in the comments if you want. No looking on Google, no searching. Of course, that's a given. So once you've written, you put it down. We'll come to it later. So is intelligence acquired or is intelligence innate? So we see intelligence all around us. We see it in our workplace. For someone who's really dedicated, spends a lot of time, let's say, reading data, understanding their craft. It's not just related to academics. You have musicians in your groups that their brains work at a different wavelength. Your favorite cricketers and footballers might be people who are really intelligent. But we also see a child being able to differentiate a particular color from another, differentiate shapes. Crows are able to build things. Not a lot of books that a child or a crow is reading, right? So that means that it's not just learned, there's innate intelligence within us. When we pick one of the most popular questions in football, Messi versus Ronaldo. Well, there's a huge camp that is Team Messi that thinks that, he's this godlike creature that doesn't belong to this planet. And then there's this camp that looks at Ronaldo, looks at his hard work, his preparation, his undying perseverance towards achieving a goal. Who would you consider more intelligent of the two? Is it Messi's absolute innate ability that looks natural, finds spaces, adapts to any situation quickly? Or is it Ronaldo's persistent hard work, preparation, understanding weaknesses and patching them time and time again as he moves forward? Both are intelligent, but they look very different. One looks more natural, the other looks more prepared. But both of them have helped these guys achieve great heights in the game. There's intelligence in someone being able to absolutely break down and decode a problem, but might actually not be very smart to come up with great solutions, whereas someone else who might not be very good with breaking down and decoding something into smaller chunks, the moment they see these chunks, are able to absolutely flourish with great ideas lighting up in their brains. Well, it's not just these kinds of intelligence. There's more intelligence. There's social intelligence, the ability to read a room, to understand what the other person might be feeling. The fact that we've been able to, ace a lot of things on this planet, and we've actually taken course and control of this planet, is because we have that ability to work together in large groups, larger than any other mammals on this planet. And that's our collective intelligence. When there's dust around, your tear glands start releasing tears to protect your eyes. Your immune system fights with issues within the body without you even, recognizing or consciously thinking about it. Your heart knows to beat faster when you're running. Your bodies fight countless things and repair things on a daily basis without you ever having to think about it. Which means that there's not just intelligence that we apply on something externally, but there's an ocean of intelligence that's within us that keeps us alive, keeps us sitting, allows me to, sit in front of this camera and speak to you, and allows you to sit on the other side in front of that screen and listen to what I have to say and actually understand a lot of it. So it almost feels impossible to define that word. So either we have it wrong or we've used a word too small to define something that's too big for any of us to explain. Now look at your definition of intelligence that you wrote down. When I went and wrote down in my notebook, I'll read that out to you. I wrote, intelligence is the ability to learn and apply that learning in a new situation. it sounds limiting. Look at your definition of intelligence, and if some of you were able to actually contain the huge definition of intelligence, then that's great. I want to hear about that in the comments. If that is the case, then are we really building intelligence? Being able to remember an entire poem was applauded as intelligence by my teacher, but it was simply memory. So yes, there's some form of pattern recognition, some form of memory used here, but I can't really call that intelligent. This is what I believe. We are building the next generation of tools. Yes, there's a lot of people saying this is different, these are not tools, they are agents, they can take their own decisions, but I still think they are tools. It doesn't necessarily exclude the fact that they can take some decisions on their own from the definition of tools. And we've always used tools, fire, wheels, they've applied to the entire society, but not just these things, money, political systems, beliefs, ideologies, religion. There's just tools that we've built to make sense of this world. We've made things out of thin air, things that did not exist, so that we could make sense of the world. And while I do think that the technology is going to keep moving forward faster than anything that we've seen before, I don't think we have to be as scared as everyone wants us to be. 2 weeks ago, I saw this AI app that could help me build websites. I went on it, I tested it a bit, and I had an actual working website. I've never been able to code. I do not know how to write a single line of code, and I've always been fascinated when I looked at others who could code. It almost felt like a superpower, to be able to think about something and make it happen, make it real. That was 2 weeks ago. Yesterday, I gave the same AI application a few choice words. In fact, I think I rage shut that application in the middle of my work because it couldn't get this animation right. I kept asking it to, move that button up, and it couldn't do it. How stupid could it be? You see, that's how quickly we adapt. From being almost unbelievably impressed that something like this existed 2 weeks ago, my baseline expectation absolutely shifted within these 2 weeks. And that's how I think human beings are. The reason that we've been able to come this far is our ability to adapt to any situation that's thrown to us. And to me, that's a sign of true intelligence. To be able to move ahead even in the dark without having deep understanding of where we are going, but still being able to move ahead, I think that's intelligence. And we all have it. We have it in unbelievable amounts. We all have a universe worth of intelligence contained within us. We just have to tap into it.